what would you like to see included in the speech from the throne?
I would really like to see genuine commitment to the whole concept of building back better, and that includes social and climate justice. So that's what I would like to see.
The current government addressed a lot of Aboriginal issues. Obviously, with all the residential school scandals, that's something that the government should tackle head-on. But you're right. I think creating more well-paid job, that should be something that the government is prioritized.
I think we need to mention climate change and really stick with that. It's great to have leaders go to COP26 or whatever it was called and say they're going to do this, but I think we need to see some things on the ground. I think the Prime Minister needs to follow through on his commitments to the Indigenous communities and to really sort of seeing where residential schools are at and how we can support the survivors that way.
That is a hard one. Well, I think just like overall the affordability crisis that we're all experiencing, if you look at like the statistics that show you how much you need to make to live in the cities, the big cities around here, it's astronomical. Like people can't afford anything anymore, and we need to change that. I think we need a government that's gonna, actually help the people.
So Indigenous relations and Indigenous affairs and reducing the deficit, I think, are just hugely important. The deficit, if it continues to balloon like it has been, millennials are going to be, and you're young as well, are going to be saddled with this in the future somehow, either in terms of government spending cuts or tax increases or both.
I'd like to hear about the reconciliation. That's important for Canada. And that's about it, really.
Really? Why does reconciliation is important for Canada? What would you say that?
Well, there's a lot of strife in the history of Canada, and I think it has to be addressed. And I think the present government are going in the right direction. And once that is addressed, then we can start the healing process, and we can live together as a united country.
Well, I'd like to see infrastructure spending. I think that we're seeing a huge infrastructure spend in the U.S. that's coming over the next decade, and I think Canada needs to keep up with that. I think interest rates are low right now, so it's the time to borrow and spend. And I think that just looking around the world, you lose a competitive situation if you don't keep up with the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Europeans. So that's the top of my thinking, and we've got Indigenous reconciliation to deal with, and I think whether that's truly a government thing or it's a people thing, I kind of split on that.
Going in the right direction on climate change, and I'm not convinced that the carbon tax is the way to go. Better relations with our neighbors, period. Being more forceful instead of wishy-washy on
everything.
Kind of.
I think it took too long for the vaccine card, the national vaccine card, to come into play. That could have been done a long time ago. But our Prime Minister wanted to have an election, it seemed like, and he couldn't do it until after.
Nothing. It's all going to be blah, blah, blah. Now, granted, I like Trudeau. I don't like the others, but it's all blah, blah, blah. Nothing is going to get done.
Well, definitely tackling inflation a little bit and continuing with, it's nice to see the green initiatives coming out where they're giving subsidies for heat pumps and solar energy and stuff. So that's nice. And maybe a little less focus on the pandemic and a little more focus on other things, other areas of our health.
To help ordinary Canadian that work hard to keep the country going.
The social aspects, and education, and help medically, and all those good things. It's always troubled me when so often it seems when all the cuts come, they're always hitting education, they're always hitting health, and I think we're we're paying for that, you know, whether we want to admit to it or not. But you know, I think there's a lot of room for improvement, but it just gets really difficult.
I think climate change has to be top of the agenda. That, as far as I'm concerned, the pandemic may be coming to an end, but climate change is a huge threat for the next 20 years.